Just a quick note at the top of this episode to say that due to a computer exploding, we had to use the backup recording for this episode, so the audio fidelity and quality is perhaps not quite the same as you would typically expect from Cinema Swirl. However, it is perfectly listenable, it sounds great, it just sounds a bit different, so you might not even notice it might not be a big deal, but it just feels worth pointing out so that you know that I know, and we will be back to normal from next time. If you want to support us, head on over to patreon.com/Cinema Swirl, and thanks to our patrons for supporting us. Alright, let's get swirling.
Cinema Swirl! Get ready for a sip of this fun gun brew. It's episode number 112, and it's a Michael Caine special. Congratulations, Michael Caine. 90 years in movies, and now you are retired, which means you are allowed to have a Cinema Swirl episode done by you. With me, your old pal, Captain Kevin, joined as I am always by the Caine to my Michael, Sam Chaplin.
Hi, it's me, Caine, and welcome to the Michael Caine Swirl. It's about damn time that we're doing Caine.
Bit of best of British, skirting around the edge of a very difficult talk in the movie Zulu, and here we are with the Italian Job, where it's just a right old good time, or many are calling it a fun gun brew, actually, as a matter of interest.
Fun gun brew. What does it mean?
That's my job, Dan. Yeah. What does it mean?
That's the most aggressive my quizzing has been on your Ryan so far. No, mate, but what does it mean? What does that actually mean?
You will be watching the movie this evening, and at one point it'll dawn upon you that all these elements together, involving, I believe there is at least the threat of firearms, and you think this is a bit of a fun, and then all of a sudden all those pieces come together. Baby, you got a fun gun brew going, and that's what fun gun stew was also, but I didn't want people thinking, oh, you're having to go at Michael Caine. He's 90 years old. His meat is like stew now. That's not what I'm saying.
Onion stew would have also been available, just so you know.
Yeah, I'm not like British. I can't be like, onion. Oh, man, if you got an onion.
What do you say?
Onion.
Onion.
Onion. Like a French person who wants the lowest denomination of the Japanese currency. Onion. And today's episode is, of course, very exciting, not just because we are doing the Italian Job. I've got fun idea for a segment that I want to do shortly.
Okay.
I'm so excited. I preempted asking you, which I will do now, what you think the Italian Job is about.
Okay, so I know there's... Well, what's it about? Job. This is hard because all I want to say is like there's minis in it, it's in Italy, but that's not what it's about. So the job bit, let's focus on the job.
They prefer the term Little Italy to Mini Italy. That's just, I've watched The Sopranos many times and they very angry when you call it Mini Italy.
The job, I assume, is a heist, a crime, and they're doing that in minis in Italy. So.
Now, I feel like in the UK, you have fucking awful sorts of fun and craziness with the word job. Job's a good one. He's been jobbing about. He's done a jobby in the toilet. That one was really exciting to find out. And you have that in Nottingham, I'm assuming.
The Italian Jobby is a very different film. It
is.
Yeah.
Now, what I found strange about that was that in other parts of the country, when I've been further down south on business, I have heard people refer to a tradie or a workman as a jobby. So when someone said, I've had that jobby in to fix the light, and I go, all right, I know he wasn't that nice. That's a literal piece of human excrement. That's awful.
But it's not that meaning of job or jobby. No. This is a crime, a big job.
Crime.
One last job, one big job. Get the.
My dad, before we get in the car, one last jobby. Come on.
Try and squeeze out one last jobby. It's a long journey, and maybe that's what this is kind of about, because they're going about in minis. Michael Caine's in it.
Yeah.
There's crime. You're only... Well, could I get into lines?
Come on. Well, that's part of the package. What do you know? You're only supposed to do something, apparently.
But this feels very retro Cinema Swirl in that I can't really do a Michael Caine impression. And I'm going to have to...
Really? Because I thought that's like... That's got to be just it. Like I saw this thing today on Twitter where I was like, "Oh, every man wants to do an impression of Arnold Schwarzenegger and Kermit the Frog and Adam Driver." I'm like, not Sam Chaplin.
Adam Driver.
Absolutely not Sam Chaplin. Let's hear your Michael Caine voice doing the line from the movie.
I feel like I've got to do a different line to get in character. The Lamborghini then, much more subtle.
Much more subtle.
Subtle.
You've made him a bit tough there, I think.
Oh my God.
You've become Hoskins. The huskiness brought on the huskiness.
You're only supposed.
He's the father of Austin Powers. You got to get it right.
My name, Michael Caine. You're only supposed to blow the bloody doors off.
That's pretty good.
No, it's not. Good. It's that's
you do have the leg up of being an adult British man doing an impersonation of someone who is also an adult British man. But that being said, that's still impressive.
Yeah, the tangerine was the size of a tangerine. You're only supposed to blow I get too gruff. But,
you're getting far too gruff. And I know you're thinking crime, so you think he must be like, are you assuming he is like stopping this Italian job, perpetrating this Italian job?
I don't know if perpetuating a crime against Italy on the whole. I don't know if they're stealing from Italy. But
all them tangerines. And I know it's the 70s and you're worried about the EU, the EEC coming in, taking all your tangerines and making them probably blue and square.
Yeah.
Like our passport should be here. No, that's not it at all. It's not a crime against the Italians. You're correct.
No. It's not like a kebab pizza, which is a crime against Italians, is what I would say.
Well, no, maybe that's not that bad. No, like
baked bean pizza.
One? Baked bean pizza?
Yeah, have you seen that? The kind of frozen Heinz baked bean pizza. That's a real horrible thing. Yeah, that feels
beans don't go on a pizza. They're on the side as a sauce for dipping.
No,
We've been through this.
Wrong. Bad. But it's not that. It's Michael Caine. You're only supposed to blow the bloody doors off. I know there's minis. I know they're different colours. I feel like there's a song, but I don't know what the song is.
What if I do this English kind of... what I'm doing is, imagine an 8-bit RPG and I'm a villager standing on the spot doing a little jig. That is kind of the emotion that would go along with this song.
Here's the things that are in my head. No, we've
done that. It's Great Escape, Christmas special. I done that as well.
Is it that? No, it's not that.
No, it is that. It is that.
Is it that? Is it that?
Is that.
Okay, that's where that's from. Okay.
I'm assuming you know that from a series of like ads for like Aviva health insurance and the Prudential and stuff like that. Like
that's echoed through culture and probably the footy grounds, I would imagine as well.
That is it, you know.
Yeah.
Did you see that ludicrous Italian job they did last night? Unbelievable.
So there's that, and I feel like I know quite a bit about this, but I don't really know what the plot is or who's in it other than Michael Caine.
I think you've kind of guessed the plot when you said it's a heist, right?
I feel like I know the ending,
which is
unusual. And this feels like a thing that comes up on like Channel 5's greatest, funniest bits and pops.
Yeah, I think what's happened here now is Sam has watched 2 or 3 of Jimmy Carr's top 100 best endings to British movies on New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
And maybe this is stuck.
They're teetering on an edge of a cliff. I think they're in a car or a bus or something, and they're wobbling on the edge. And they're going to fall. Oh, Kevin's looking at me like that's not correct.
No, I'm wondering, and do they fall? Do they not fall?
I think
is it fall? Is it autumn? What is it? What even is it?
It's hard to tell in Italy, isn't it? You know, with their weather. I don't know. I don't think they. Right, my guess is that we don't find out, and I feel like the ending is like, they're on the edge.
You were close to making it pointless in watching this movie. Now you're veering on the edge. Like, do you want an episode off? Is that what you're saying? Like, no, I've seen all the. I've not seen it. I just know all the good.
I just know
basically
all of the highlights. You're only supposed to blow the bloody doors off, which implies that they blow more than the doors off.
I'm expecting your dog, being a British dog, is going to like yap patriotically and do little backflips when those bits of the movie happen.
Sure. Although he's a German breed, so perhaps there'll be a bit of, who knows? Can I spoil any more of this film?
I think you pretty much did all spoiled now. It's all spoiled now.
There's fun.
The only thing you can't tell me is what they're heisting. Yeah. What would you heist from Italy?
Pizza. But I don't think they're coming out of there with a bunch of dough and marinara sauce. I
don't think so.
No. Diamonds.
Because they're snobs. Diamonds? Okay.
Diamonds. Just straight up cash from a bank. I'm just going Route 1 heist here.
Yeah.
Gold, frankincense, myrrh,
Have you seen like Ocean's 11, I'm pretty sure, right? I remember that was on like a big list of movies. So you are familiar with the heist genre. Are you a fan of the heist genre? Because for me, it wasn't always. I used to like it at all as a teen and a young adult. But now, in my mature years, give me a heist. Even give me a shit heist, I'll have a good time.
Yeah, I think the kind of structure of planning, it coming together, it going a bit wrong, but then it all coming off in the end feels satisfying, doesn't it? That's a nice thing, you know? It's a very British thing, I suppose, that like the satisfaction is like, we set out to achieve something and we did it, but we did steal stuff that's not ours. But that's, but
we're not going to give it back is basically what you're saying. No. Maybe we should do a fucking London heist, huh? When we go there now, and we'll get all the marbles and the giant bones and all the stuff. All the stuff back. All the stuff. What has Sam personally, on behalf of England, stolen from you? cinemaswirl@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Let's get it back. Yeah, let's do a whip round.
Get it back. So I think that might exhaust my knowledge, but that feels like quite a lot.
Okay.
I'm surprised I got the song. I didn't realise it was Self-Preservation Society.
Look at this.
Yeah.
What's even the point?
Is that song from this? Like originally? Right. Okay.
I'm sure it was a song, so I'm sure it was around. I'm just saying, right? It says a lot about the shallow pool. The UK, I'm not denying, has got great movies, great cultural contributions, movies, shows, art, music, all that stuff. Donkey Kong Country 2, soundtrack's only from a Brit. Like, I have to admit that. That's fine. That's basically 80% of music. So what I'm saying is that there's only a very shallow pool of what's acceptable to like you, your mum and dad, the man in the street, and also the fallen, and all of them that they can all enjoy together. Like, there's not many things other than this that you, your mum, your dad, the ghost of Captain Tom can all sit around and enjoy as Brits. And I feel, as a result of that, cold-hearted financial institutions and marketeers have strip-mined this from all the essential details so that you don't really need to see it, but you're gonna anyway because it's part of the job.
I'm gonna watch it. The Great Escape falls into this category, I think, as well, of like cultural. We've all just got that, and it's.
Well, if you're doing home insurance and you're saying self-preservation society, it's like, fair enough. That's more in line than like, are you driving your motorbike away from the Nazis? Better get it insured with Sheila's wheels.
No, they're doing like Crocodile Dundee and stuff. Surely that's what they're going to be cribbing from.
That's true. And I mean, like we're going with Marvel now, aren't we? With all of the insurance ads over here, and you have to watch all those if you want to see the new season of Loki. You have to watch all of the ads for Direct Line. Otherwise, it doesn't really make any sense.
I see we've got to watch the 2003 or whatever remake of The Italian Job as well, because I remember that coming out. I didn't watch it, but I remember it existing.
That is basically what's at stake here. If you really love this movie or really hate it, then basically that's because you had a lot of people tweeting in saying that's the logical thing to do. And me, having seen that in the cinema and hating it, I understand that. However, a swill and swirl matched together can only work if there's enough emotion about, if this makes no difference to you, what's the point of seeing a shitty remake of it? But you're not allowed to pretend.
Okay, I've got to. No, I'm always honest with how I feel about films.
I thought you were saying you're always on. Turns out he's always honest.
Honest.
and always on. That was also a truth as well.
Yes.
Sam, it's time for my new segment, which I'm debuting on this episode.
Okay.
And perhaps retrospectively in all the other episodes. It's time for Takeaway Swirl.
Quick question. I was just checking if we needed a theme for this, but that's covered now, so we're all right.
It needs a sick drum track underneath.
Sick beat.
Sick beat, please. Thank you very much. So what I have noticed, and this has come a couple of episodes, Big comes to mind, Full Monty comes to mind, The Thing comes to mind. Why don't you and I individually, before we go into the movie, search on Just Eat, and because you can search by dish on that takeaway app.
Right, yeah.
And I'm pretty sure there's going to be something called the Italian Job, right?
Okay, let's try and find something.
Let's try and see if we've got something called the Italian Job.
Search by dish.
Search by dish, and whoever wins, your town is the more cultured.
No results for the Italian Job, sorry. Try another search. Okay, we're going to go over to...
Oh, the closest I got is Sainsbury's Italian Pomodoro cherry tomatoes enriched tomato sauce. Taste the difference, 400 grams. But that's not till next episode. I was convinced there'd be an Italian Job, like a big dirty sandwich or something.
Oh, hold on. Here we go.
Yes.
I'm going to say the name of the place. Luxford Burgers. That's Luxford Burgers, the Italian Job burger. Let's go into that. That was the first result. Pesto fried halloumi, rocket, sunblush tomatoes, club dressing, and homemade red pepper pesto. It's
double pesto. What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah. There's also, this is on delivery. There's plenty of Italian Job pizzas and burgers from various places.
So that was on Deliveroo?
That was on Deliveroo for me, yeah.
Interesting. So Deliveroo produced several Italian Jobs, whereas Just Eat produced none. And I think that could be perhaps because the Deliveroo wants a more heist-like atmosphere when they're delivering your food.
Well, I mean, if you ask their riders and drivers, I'm sure they'd agree with this.
I'm just saying, Sam, it feels like a foolish thing that we went through all them episodes and merely speculated about there were 7 full Monties available in the Salford area. 7.
I see
burgers and breakfasts. And 1 breakfast burger.
Burgers and breakfasts of burgers. I see where this feature is going. I think we push this back out to the listeners to identify in their area takeaway food dishes. I'd probably say not locations. This feels this is the dish. It's
the dish. I want to eat the movie. I don't want to eat in the movie. Yeah. That's weird. And you can send yours to cinemaswirl@gmail.com.
That's cinemaswirl@gmail.com. I will just ask if there's any more to take away, Swirl, or if we've kind of...
That's it.
So I think that leads us very nicely into the mailbag. Welcome to the mailbag.
Hi, it's the mailbag, the classic long-running segment.
Yes.
Could it be the next takeaway swirl? We don't know.
As ever, you can send your questions, queries, comments, and other bits and bobs into that email address that we just mentioned, cinemaswirl@gmail.com.
That we just mentioned.
First message comes in from Ryan. This is a follow-up to a message from, I think, 2022.
Ooh, the golden years.
Yes. Hello once again, chaps. I must thank you as representatives of cinema for the work you have done since my last email. This last email was about The Batman and the idea of having a intermission in films. We were all for it.
Controversy about this recently, I believe.
Well, Ryan writes, I stumbled upon an article from The Guardian detailing that the View cinema chain has been providing a 15-minute intermission during showings of Killers of the Flower Moon, which have been a huge hit, in inverted commas, with customers. Keep up the good work, Ryan. I'm all for it, Ryan, because these films are getting long and my bladder is getting short. So,
Shortened bladder is unfortunately just one of those things that happen when you grow up. Now, further to the point there, the email from Ryan, yes, that's a great idea. Also, I saw Killers of the Flower Moon in a View cinema. I was offered no respite period whatsoever, which was bad because I brought with me a batch of homemade white chocolate cookies, a 1 litre flask of coffee, several feta stuffed meatballs, and Joe had a bag of snacks as well. So we were really needing the loo, and they didn't pause the action. So it was a simple late night job, and that's all that was. But I read that apparently the distributors of the movie have been coming after the cinemas now, saying if you put a break in, you're actually breaking your contract with us because you're meant to show the movie start to finish. So big Hollywood's coming after your short bladders.
Can I say, I think that attitude from the filmmakers is quite frankly rank. I disagree with it.
Sucks.
Yeah, that sucks.
What am I meant to do, movie? Am I not meant to drink a litre of coffee at the cinema?
Yeah.
What do you want?
Where are those feta stuffed meatballs meant to go? That's my question.
That's it. Just into the bin.
I really want one of those meatballs. I can picture the taste. Is what I was saying.
Next time you're around. Next time you're around, and everyone will be happy because they're Joe's fave as well.
They sound good. But yeah, I'm all for intermissions. What was the Quentin Tarantino one that had one in? Hateful Eight, I think.
Hateful Eight did have an intermission in it, yeah. I think there was like an intermission gag in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but it was the type of thing where I may have imagined that. Could well be.
No, yeah. But I appreciate it. I think it's a good idea. And I think that cinemas can do whatever the fuck they want. Just let them pause the film, go for a wee. Fine.
And I think the problem, though, is if you put intermission on Killers of the Flower Moon, judging from what I saw, no one would have come back in the second half. Great movie. I'm just saying, idiots went to see it. That's all.
Well, yes. I've not seen it yet. But
who leaves 3 hours and 15 minutes into a 3.5 hour movie? Because that's what I saw. That was mad. And it was nearly 3 a.m. as well.
Well, I was going to say, some people have the last train to catch. With something like that, you got to get back.
Betty's in at the club.
Yeah, it's closing time. Not at the pubs, at the clubs. So I've got to get in and get a drink.
The last chance.
A last Jaeger bomb before bed. So thank you, Ryan. And
thanks, Ryan.
That was our work that we did pushing for the idea of intermissions in film. You're welcome. Next question comes in from Corey, who writes the following. Hi, Sam and Kevin. I watched Spaceballs. So much as hold on. The problem with Spaceballs is it's got an exclamation mark in the title of the film.
So we don't know the tone here.
I thought Corey's first sentence was, I watched Spaceballs. And then something else. But right, Corey, I'll do this justice. I watched Spaceballs so much as a kid that I can almost recite it from memory. And while I don't think it's a comedy classic by today's standards, I genuinely never want to watch it even one more time. Were there any good movies you loved too much as a kid and watched them to the point of completely ruining them for yourself as an adult? That's from Corey. It's great.
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Definitely Pulp Fiction. Pulp Fiction. But everyone did that, though. If you discover Pulp Fiction between the ages of 8 and 15, you're going to watch it too much. That was just part of growing up as a millennial, I think. And that was one where, I remember watching that at one point, because it was one of the first DVDs I bought along with the Animatrix. I remember being able to recite that, scene for scene. Now, I'm no means a Pulp Fiction expert, but I kind of feel like you can watch a movie a lot, but you gain no more appreciation of it than if you had only watched it 3 or 4 times as opposed to 23 or 24 times. Yeah. But I also feel that is very much a product of the time and age of I'm a teen and I own 2 movies, and I don't think that youngsters would have that issue, or adults in this day and age.
Here's what I'd say. I never need to watch Fight Club again, do I?
I was going to assume, my brain literally said, no, Kevin, be better. Don't be mean and assume that Sam loved Fight Club so much he watched it several times.
Of course, of course I did. Of course.
Of course he did.
It was my introduction to the band Pixies, and so that's enough, isn't it?
That's nice.
Yeah, that's nice, isn't it?
I feel The Shawshank Redemption is a movie that I watched similarly 180,000 times.
Sure.
But I feel like I could watch that again. I never made a conscious effort to stop watching it like I did Pulp Fiction. But then again, when you're in university, people are going to say, hey, you boys want to watch Pulp Fiction? A lot more than they're going to say, you boys want to watch The Shawshank Redemption? Only one thing can put a cap on this evening of merriment. A long tale of a man's emancipation from himself in prison.
Pulp Fiction has like little bits, doesn't it? You can kind of come in and watch the bits. So, Corey, we're veering wildly from the original intention of your question, or at least I am going to with what I say next. But I have rewatched a Swirl film again recently.
What?
And I watched The Shining again.
Really?
It's been on the iPlayer in, I think, 4K or at least nice HD. And oh man. Right, watching it again made me want to then watch it another time. So I've kind of gone the opposite way to what Corey is suggesting here, in the I think I want to watch more of The Shining and probably 2001 again. And then I watched that documentary about theories around The Shining.
That's a fun old documentary. It's full of silly
some
people.
of which are fucking stupid. But
4K, you want to watch 4 Kubrick movies.
It's made me want to watch the remaining unseen Kubricks that I haven't watched.
Eyes wide shut, Swirl.
Legit, I really want to watch that.
You know what? Let's do that in the new year as a nice little palate cleanser against dusty old 2024.
Yes. All right. Yes. I'm up for that. But Corey, I in terms of childhood, I can't think of anything that I overwatched to the point that I got.
Ernest Scared Stupid ruined for me now.
Okay, because you're just watching it over and over again.
So many times.
There must have been, I suppose Toy Story and stuff, but I would watch that again. There's not, I didn't ruin it.
It's stuff when you're a little kid or whatever. It's because you watch it completely different when you're a little kid. It's when you're watching something as a mid-teen and you think you're a little film critic or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And that's less fun to watch because once you've overanalyzed something, it's less fun to go back and just watch it for what it is. I don't think I've seen Pulp Fiction in a good I'd say 15 or 20 years thereabouts at this point.
That's right. So that now fits into another category of I think it would be fun for us to watch that together and talk about it, but it doesn't fit into anything that we do.
It's another one for the cinema series. Cinema.
But thank you, Corey, for your question, and thank you, as ever, for questions into cinemaswirl@gmail.com. Let's wrap up the old mailbag.
You're only supposed to blow the bloody clasps off.
Yes, so I know everything about this film, so I'm assuming it's going to be a good best of British time.
What is basically is you're going to be like Thanos getting the last jewel that makes you a true Brit, and you're going to go, ha ha ha. Go on, you England Reds at the football, where you wear the red uniform of England. It's red. It's white, isn't it? Yeah,
it's white. Red's the away kit. So.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, you'll be going away, England, in the back of an ambulance. Hey! Sports are fun, after all. Hey, it's time for an Italian job, so let's go do an Italian cinema swirl. Michael Caine. Sam, initial gut reaction to the Italian Job.
You can't ask for my initial gut reaction after being that funny. That's not fair.
It's a very funny movie, was it? A big laugh, this Italian Job.
Right, okay. Initial gut reaction. Hey! It's one of those. It's proper way.
One of those. Which even if you happen to know what Sam is talking about, you'd say that's a pretty vague. You were only supposed to give me your initial gut reaction. What do you mean by one of those?
It's like, right, it's what the Keith Lemon film really fucking wishes it was. And that sounds insulting. But
that is.
best of British, good, silly, fun time.
We are the Bang Tidy Preservation Society. Ush. Ush, ush, ush.
Yeah. My initial reaction is not oosh, but it's got that. That was a bit of fun. That was a laugh. That was bright and breezy, you know.
Hoot?
A hoot. Yeah.
A hoot?
A hoot. Hoot feels quite American for something to be a hoot. This was a knees up, you know.
Was it a knees up?
This was a real beano.
Bean fest, a regular bean fest.
It was, yeah, a good time.
And for those of you listening from Ireland, it was a big raw agus rulia bulia. So it was. It was one of those indeed. So we started off the Italian jobby with the only way to get any true Brit interested in the movie to souped up hot rods going vroom.
Yeah. I mean, look, they've taken this Top Gear formula and they've run with it here. A beautiful location and a fast car. That's all you need. There's these lovely...
Yeah, but a location that can only be as beautiful as the hot car driving through it, right?
Well, yeah.
You know, and I'm talking to Sam Chaplin, real OG petrol head, diesel dick over here, man. This guy, he's driving the car, you know, first gear, second, third, fourth, on occasion fifth. He'll reverse it on occasion. And do you want to tell the folks what happened for the first time ever in the pre-swirl? Because you were a little delayed, weren't you?
Well, first off, listeners, just for clarification, I drive an automatic, but that means I'm using all the gears. Yeah.
If I implied autonomy on the driver's behalf there, and that led you to think that Sam's he's not.
No. I'm letting the machine do that for me. Okay.
Sam's basically in a rudimentary way letting AI decide what gear he should be in. Yeah. Whereas me, I let Clarkson decide for me. Top gear, Jeremy.
Top gear all the way.
And that's why I've not driven in several years. That and my car accident.
Won't work.
Because the car won't work. Yeah, too, yeah.
So yesterday, I had to delay recording a little bit due to being stuck in traffic in a car, which has not really happened before. But
it is English car.
I didn't know there was a traffic jam component to this film. So it's very funny now that we had to delay recording this a little bit because I was stuck in a traffic jam.
I was going to bring up your traffic jam call in the middle of the pre-swirl, but you already figured out so much of the movie. I was like, he knows there's a traffic jam in it as well. You might as well not watch the movie, like, you know.
No, I did. Ironically, the one that I didn't know about, I experienced directly firsthand. It did turn out that the reason why there was a traffic jam was because someone was stealing
Nottingham's gold.
Well, all of Nottingham's lace. It was the van was all lacy.
They're taking all of Nottingham's greatest exports. It's Hooters restaurant and it's lace.
Lace, yeah.
You know what I suspect? I suspect the Sheriff of Nottingham is up to his old tricks again.
Well, so yeah, I'm a petrol head, and this is the movie for me.
Just car driving around, that could have been the whole movie, basically.
Well, yeah. It's a sports car making a real smelly noise, that proper, like, you know, the real sports car fart. I was thinking when I was watching this, and it's a car going along all these twisty cliff edge mountain roads in beautiful Italy. I would fucking hate to drive on some of these roads.
I understand that. It is also as well probably wearing on your mind a bit that 1 second this car was going vroom, but the next second the car was going boom because it did explode. Which, fairness, you know, every single time you see a car driving on a nice Italian Vista like that, you probably, you know, right to be a little bit anxious that it might go boom.
Yeah. That car's blowing up. I felt that it was too nice of a scene, you know, it was too relaxing and nice. And like some of the YouTube walking videos that I put on sometimes just to relax myself, with people just wandering around places. It was like that, but cars. I knew something sinister was coming. In YouTube's case, it's an ad break. In this case, it's an explosion.
That's interesting. You watch that. I do a similar thing. There's a YouTube channel I found where someone just does all the parts of the different Shenmue games and they walk around in first person mode. I know something bad's going to happen, but that is that father's going to get murdered.
Yes.
Bloody thing.
Spoiler alert, I think. I don't know.
It's in the first act.
Okay, right. Some key things here, though. We get the credits, and first off, the font is lovely. The font is fucking, delicious. Yes, please. Like a strawberry lace. Eat it up. Lovely.
It's a delicious font, I'll give you that. Michael Caine's got good curling on his lettering there. I'm very impressed with that. And it takes a lot for a font to take me away from my favourite pastime, which is watching a car that's exploded roll down a hill. Yes. I felt like I could have watched that for 2 minutes instead of credits. And you throw in a wreath that's going down at the same time? The only other thing you could do is throw a cheese down there, and then I would have, that's the movie for me, you know?
But that's if they'd have done that explosion in the UK, but this was in Italy, so it was a bit, if in the UK they would have rolled a cheese and everyone would have gone down with the car. Now, the key thing about the credits that I want to bring up, and this is important, there was a funny name in there, and I don't know if you caught it.
I didn't catch any funny names. The only thing, it was later on, Joe joined me for the final act, and when we were watching the credits at the end, she went, "Oh, look, there's another person named Caine. Do you think that Michael Caine got his deadbeat brother a gig on this?"
Yeah, there was another Caine. I can't remember the other Caine. Yeah. Kevin, the name of the second unit director for the Italian job is someone called Philip Wrestler.
Wow.
Philip Wrestler, which to me seemed like the name CM Punk would use to try and sneak back into AEW. But
Philip Wrestler.
Philip Wrestler. I mean, what a name. Wrestler as a surname. Oh.
I'm assuming that guy's got some wrestling ancestry. He wouldn't just call you that, right?
Oh, well, I guess, you'd be related.
Like, I'm assuming there's a couple of men of the cloth in the Sam Chaplin lineup.
Probably somewhere down the line.
Which means there is a long history in the Chaplin family tree of men betraying their oath of chastity.
Yes. Well, anyway, car.
Where's Mahan? Just Norman invaders. That's all.
Fine. Yeah, big bang, car rolling down a hill, throw the wreath after it, get it all done in one go. And now we cut to Michael Caine. My name.
Sir Michael Caine.
My name is Sir Michael Caine.
President Michael Caine.
President Michael Caine. You were only supposed to do Michael Caine impressions here on cinema as well.
Very good.
You know what?
Got the elder Caine there, despite the fact that you've been seeing.
He's so young in this.
They say he's so young, but it's 1969, so he's probably around 60 years old here, I'd reckon, by my calculations. This was fun because he was coming out of prison, which led to me writing down Mick out the Nick, which is very rare that you get to rhyme your name with a slang for prison.
Yeah, very good. Mick out the Nick. He's coming out of prison, but he's a chipper lad. He's saying, "Oh, cheerio, lads. Bye. I'll see you later." Oh,
even the screws like him.
Yeah, he's a popular guy. Very handsome, Michael Caine. Young Michael Caine. Didn't
he's
quite
very,
realise
very
the extent of that.
We don't quite know yet why he's been in prison, so I thought he might be a sex offender, so I thought I would just hold off for... He could have been very well connected. That's why everyone maybe liked him, because of the favours. But if you've seen any of Trailer Park Boys, brackets, the good bits, this was very much like that. A guy triumphantly coming out of prison and having the time of his life. And there's something about the immediacy when someone leaves prison, be it an escape, be it a formal release, be it an informal release. I think that's like one of my favourite little situations that I can see on film or TV.
Yeah.
I love a good prison drama, but I'd happily have a spin-off season of Oz that follows the 30 minutes after everyone gets out of prison, what they do, what they eat. And he is off to do a job in Italy, apparently. And I hope he likes spaghetti, because they have it 4 times a day in the Italian prisons. 4 times a day. Is the Italian job a job to commit a crime, get banged up abroad, and then live the life in prison?
Well, I mean, it makes it sound
4 times a day.
Yes, please. Yeah.
Well, there'd be no escape. We'd be all so sleepy.
That's the strategy. It's a good idea. So in those immediate moments after coming out of prison, his girlfriend, I think, has come to get him. And you've stolen the ambassador's car.
This car belongs to the Pakistani ambassador.
Right. I didn't realise how fun this was going to be in terms of the characterisation of Charlie Croker here. who immediately coming out of prison, take me to my tailor. He needs a nice suit. He wants
to be suited,
a lovely suit.
He wants to be booted, and he doesn't want any of his conversations to be muted, if you know what I'm saying, because he's him and this American babe are off for the time of their life, essentially.
Yes, and I really enjoyed the kind of quite sassy tailor or tailor's assistant being like, "Oh, these clothes, Charlie." It's like, when I went in, that was all the go. What did you do? Life, and it's like proper slagging him off, and he's a criminal. You know, they know he's a criminal, but
at most prices, the tailor's the criminal.
And it is a nice suit he comes out in as well. Like,
late 60s is a good era for men's fashion. Yes. I think that is definitely, an era where the tailoring was definitely on point. You just don't get that with Boohoo men, do you?
No, not quite.
He's having a great day, though. I was kind of half thinking about committing a few crimes just so I could get out of prison. That's a wow.
Yeah, nice moment. Yeah, I suppose download the app doesn't have the same ring as Take Me to My Tailor. It's not. No. No. Even though some of the discounts are exclusive to buying on the app.
You were only supposed to get me 6 months of Boohoo Premium. Now I've got 2 years.
I like the fact that everyone in his life knows that he's a criminal and he's been in prison, but there's all this kind of British polite agreed upon, we don't talk about it as long as the money keeps coming in thing. Because the
Brits are all crooks, aren't they? Huh? They're all actually, they all know each other. Sure. Yeah. No.
Next up, he's going to the garage to get his nice car, and the guy at the garage is like, "Oh, I hear you've been in India," and he's like, "Yes, I've been shooting tigers." "Oh, well, there's a bounty on those tigers. 50 quid a head. I'll pay in cash." "Oh, you must have shot a lot of tigers." "Yes, I used a machine gun."
Machine guns, huh? It would be really funny to have a scene in a movie it's set in 1969 where an Irishman comes out of prison and tries to have a nice day. They'd fucking set a tiger on you. You'd have to pay them 50 quid for the privilege of being mauled.
He has such a nice time coming out of prison, Charlie, here. It seemed like he had a nice time in prison, and he has a nice time coming out of prison. And his girlfriend seems to have laid on basically just a room full of women in their pants. It's like a nice present for him.
It's kind of like a buffet of ladies for Michael Caine to get stuck into, for lack of a better term. I think at the end of this bit here, when he comes out, they're meant to be oh, he's spent. He's had so much sex. It's like he's had 4 hot dinners worth. But when he comes out and they're playing that sad
4
music,
prison spaghetti's worth.
he looks fucking miserable. It's really got to him or something like that.
He sneaks into a room and immediately is having a gun pointed at him. I think that's by the widow of his friend who was the man in the car at the start, whose car got blown up. And she's like, "Michael Caine, your mate, who's dead now, was planning a job, and you've got to finish the job. You've got to do the job because it's such a good job. And also have sex with me." He's kind of Austin Powers, isn't he? But
he is very much Austin Powers, except he, unlike Austin Powers, is a criminal and has no access to state secrets.
Yes.
But I'm only speaking from that because there was a plot by the IRA to capture Austin Powers and kill him, but it didn't come to that, unfortunately. Didn't come to that. We did kill the Love Guru, though. We did get him.
Yes, but that, Love Guru.
That was nothing to do with England. We just didn't like him.
No, yeah, that's fair enough, really. So we get a little kind of black and white video from beyond the grave explaining what the job is. It's $4 million. And I really like that Charlie is sort of interacting with the video. He's chatting to his mate from beyond the grave, almost in a way it seems like he doesn't understand what a video is. I think it's just a nice little thing to, pretend to chat with his mate, whose wife he's just been shagging, by the way.
I would say I'm surprised his dick didn't fall off at this point, because he's been doing this a lot, Now, a couple of points about him watching the video. Firstly, any video that literally begins with, "I am dead, and here is my video." It really made me want you and I to do a series of podcasts, maybe random episodes of of swirl or swill over on the Patreon page where one of us introduced ourselves as having been dead. So in the event that one or both of us die, we have some flexibility there that we could release one episode where I'm dead and one episode where you're dead, or one really whopper episode where we're both dead. It also made me wonder as well, when Michael Caine was talking away with the dead man's fillum, do you think people like do that with our podcast where they'll be like, Sam, that initial gut reaction was just a noise. It was just a noise. I can only do annoyed Michael Caine now, I've realised. But do you think people do that?
I hope so. Yeah, I hope people listening at home are kind of like agreeing or, adding their own little viewpoints in. That's what I want.
I can only apologise to you at home that Sam and I have dominated the conversation with you so much over the last 8 or 9 years.
Yes, we leave barely any gaps. And if there are any, they are edited out.
I've been on Sam like a hawk. I want to remove all pauses, all breaths. I want this to be like a YouTube video from 2010.
Yeah, jump cuts everywhere.
Do you remember when some YouTubers tried to do stand-up in Lincoln once and you had the most pithy remark ever, which is hard to get those laughs when you don't have all those cuts, eh? I genuinely think about that like once a month, all the time. It's great.
I do remember that. Great times. Right, so the plan, Kevin, is to cause a big bloody traffic jam, and while there's a traffic jam, ambush a convoy that is transporting gold. They're stealing gold.
And it's a lot of gold. I'm talking 4 milli willy worth of gold. That is a shitload of gold. And Turin is ripe for the picking. And that is what I would say if I was on the Turin tourism board, because it makes you feel like you're taking advantage of the great culture the city has to offer.
Yeah. And also, like, at the same time in the advert, if you have that tagline, you could have someone taking like a tomato off a vine and biting it.
And then you go...
just goes everywhere.
Hi, I'm Kevin Mahan, and welcome to Turin.
Now, in order to sort out this job, he needs some financial backing, and this was pre-Kickstarter. So
he's going to Indiegogo. Can you believe that? Like,
he's got to Indiegogo back to prison. He's got to break back into prison to convince Mr. Bridger, played by Noel Coward, who I know the name and know of, but know basically fuck all about, I've realised. I don't really know who Noel Coward is, but I feel like I should. Probably.
Yeah.
Probably one of our lot. This guy, Mr. Bridger, I think he's like a mega crook who is in prison. He's treated like royalty. He's treated better than any of the prison guards or prison officers. And Charlie breaks back in and hides in his little private toilet to do his little, I guess, elevator pitch, but more kind of cubicle pitch.
I've definitely been watching too many prison dramas, because as soon as Mr. Bridger walked into that bathroom with his newspaper and his toilet roll, I expected him to get like 10 shanks, like... But job's off.
This is the thing about like British politeness, because after he's done this pitch, which is annoying Mr. Bridger, he says to one of his prison mates, I don't want him killed, just given a good going over. Like the instructions like just beat him up a bit. I don't fucking kill him, but give him a good going over is nice. I like that.
It's nice and all that, but like, it's escalation, Sam. They go over one of your lads, so you do over one of them, and then all of a sudden it's just madness and anarchy in the streets. So it turns out is saucy side dish Lorna, the American lady, she's been nicked, but she's actually fine because she's managed to talk her way out of all the pressing charges against her. But she's still able to give Michael Caine the thick end of the wedge, and he's getting it from the missus. And then only Bridger's brigadiers show up, and they do fuck him up.
They do give him a good going over. It's also very funny that the argument between Lorna and Charlie happens while he's holding a big novelty one of the big fucking massive thing, and there's like squeaky noises everywhere.
They give him a going over, but I would say that they did him in, if I'm perfectly honest.
Yeah, they were trying to do him in, but his line of, lads, you wouldn't hit a fella with... I've lost the voice. I'll tell you that. I can't do the Michael Caine. You wouldn't hit a fella with no trousers on, would you? And then runs out of there with no trousers on. Very, very funny.
You might need to pop in another traffic jam to get your Michael Caine voice back.
Yes.
Is there any way?
My name. Hello. My name is my trousers. No, it's gone.
This is Michael Caine, ASMR. You were only supposed to titillate the senses. It's become a fetish now. What's this?
Kevin, we're getting into one of my favourite bits of heist movies.
No, I don't have an OnlyFans, thank you very much. I simply ruffle my hands through bowls of teeth and marbles. It's non-sexual.
Bowls of teeth? Fucking hell. Sorry. I'm just distracted by the image of Michael Caine in front of a fancy microphone, putting his hand in a bowl of tea. So we're getting to one of my favourite bits of heist films, or indeed heist media. We're putting a crew together, and we need a computer nerd. And so we get, and I honestly think in the modern day version, this character would be played by Leg Francis, because we don't really have an equivalent here. But we get
we don't have an equivalent friendly pervert like Benny Hill.
We get Benny
Professor
Hill.
Peach, by the way. Great name. Just missed out on the casting call for Cluedo, but here he is in The Italian Job. And they're like, he's the world's foremost expert on computers, which are as yet to be defined properly in popular media in the late 60s. Yeah. There's no way that such a boffin would join up with us. And as they say, everybody in the world is bent.
Yes, everybody in the world is bent.
It's true.
Professor Peach is doing literal matron stuff, which I kind of knew was a thing, but I forgot that it has like an actual basis in people saying things like matron, and there is literally matron. He likes the ladies, does Professor Peach.
He does, and he has that kind of like, you wouldn't get away with this in this day and age, where you can say you like the ladies, you can be enthusiastic about that, I'm sure. It's the sweating at the same time.
Yes. The amount of sweat.
I'm not even familiar with his body of work, and I was uncomfortable watching him on screen. Benny Hill swirl. Reverse swirl, because I bet you've seen some.
Well, maybe. Accidentally.
Oh, heck! The parsnips fucked the gardener.
Honestly, so the thing with Benny Hill is I'm not even sure I knew what Benny Hill looked like. I kind of knew the music.
I thought it was like Frey Bentos. It was just a brand. Like, I didn't think he was a man of flesh and blood.
There is a real Benny Hill, and that's what he looks like. So some of the rest of the gang that they're getting together, the fucking haircuts on these lads, the 1969 haircuts. There's one fucking Jimmy Savile haircut in amongst that crew of guys, and it's quite distressing. Given we both just watched the
we have just watched the entirely inappropriately titled The Reckoning, and we for some reason can't help but mention it every single time we sit down to record. Sam, I will say though, it did make me nostalgic, and I like when I made nostalgic for a time that was 20 years before I was born, but it made me nostalgic of the good old days when you could get a large group of gentlemen into a room who are all criminals, and they're all wearing suits, and you could realistically refer to that group as the firm.
Yeah, exactly. It was the best of times, Kevin, and neither of us were alive in those times. But I want to go back. Bring me back. Oh, but they're getting the firm together.
There's a line when he's introducing the firm. First of all, his right-hand man is called Bill Bailey, and that is very, very funny to me, and it will never not be funny. But there's this line where finally, I will introduce you all to the lads. That's just brilliant. Yes, I could take a whole movie of this era of Michael Caine introducing me to things.
Also, when he's going around the group, he does introduce Professor Peach and is like, but he is a pervert, but we will not let that get in the way of what we're doing here. But he is a wrong'un.
If he is tits deep in his pornography, let him at it, okay? Let him at it.
And Benny Hill just looking to camera and be like, I am a pervert. Like, he's doing proper, like, gurning silly. I forgot that this was a real thing. I didn't realise it was actually a real thing.
And this is Camp Freddy. He wears a neckerchief. That makes him camp. That's it, like.
All right, planning stages. We're getting some Mini Coopers, and we're fucking them over some ramps because we've got money to burn here.
Got a very brainiac, this part, didn't it?
Oh, I mean, you want John Tickle in your firm, don't you? That's who you want.
Absolutely.
Oh, you know. And Hammond to drive the cars.
This is John Tickle. Now, he may be a pervert, but he wants big brother. He's a very important member of the firm. And let him out. I don't even know. John Tickle's probably lovely.
I think John Tickle's nice. I don't think there's any bad John Tickle stuff. He walked on custard, but that wasn't for any weird pervert reasons. He just...
Or was it?
Well, yeah. Things may come to light, but at time of record, not aware of anything bad. So yeah, Mini Cooper's flipping over ramps, and they're testing a van that's been rigged with explosives.
What?
Kablamo! And we get the fucking line. We get the line early doors, which is I'm sure
You're
you'll
only
repeat it.
supposed to blow the early doors off.
There we go. We've got it. And that's the end of the film.
Can I just say, is around this point as well, the score of this movie, very good.
Yeah.
The use of harmonicas to note exasperated moments with all the characters. It's light and frothy. And I love a heist movie, but this one it's not quite a comedy, but there's a kind of a lightness to it. I don't really know if it's a thing that feels low stakes. It just feels like everyone's got a good attitude who's doing the crime. So it's all right, like.
There's a kind of a stag do vibe to this, you know?
Yes.
They're all just lads getting together, and it feels like they're not doing a heist. They're going paintballing somewhere. But
actually, Sam, I'd probably say this is actually lighter and nicer than a stag do.
Well, yeah, there's less of an aggressive tone to
some stag do's you'd see in Manchester are like, why can't you guys just like go and steal some bullion in Turin instead, please?
I tell you what, Kevin, it's starting to feel like a fun gun brew.
Oh, isn't this?
It is. It's starting to feel like it.
I don't think there's a single firearm in this entire movie.
The Mafia have some.
The Mafia do. Mafia.
Yeah. So there are guns, there is fun, and there is brew. I like that little video briefings are being passed around everywhere, because like Mr. Bridger from prison gets to watch a little video and be like, they're setting up, they're doing all this stuff. Is this all right with you? They're getting ready for the heist. There you go. It's not Michael Caine, but they all sound like that.
They all sound like that kind of, yeah.
They're all Michael Caine in this.
I mean, let's just be honest, American and Irish and Australian and otherworldly listeners, they all kind of sound the same, don't they? Like, you know?
Kevin, I know quite a few things from The Sopranos, but one thing I know from The Sopranos is that a funeral is the perfect way to temporarily get out of prison to have a chat with your criminal mates. And that excuse is used in full force here.
What a terrible blow. Was it Great Aunt Norris or whatever? Yes, what a terrible blow. Like what a terrible blow.
And he's basically just been like, okay, lads, yeah, go ahead, but the Mafia will undoubtedly fuck you up, and you will be in deep shit if you get on the wrong side of them. And they're like, all right,
it'll be your funeral, so it will.
Well, yeah. We're in Italy for the famous Italian job, and bit of a recce, and almost immediately the Mafia are here to be like, fuck off, you lot, get out of here.
And how do you know they're in the Mafia? Because of their hats.
Yes, they've got the hats and the suits.
They do.
And
they smash a car up as a kind of a flex, you know?
Yeah. They got a big digger that they're just like smashing all the cars up with. But Charlie, in response, threatens
to... This was horrible, like...
I will smash up every Italian business in the UK. Every ice cream parlour, every pizzeria. I'll fucking kick the doors in and destroy
and they don't believe him. And then he's like, from London to Liverpool to Glasgow.
He knows the places.
3 main places that we went. Call it off. Call it off. How much gold do you want? Leave our businesses alone.
And again, the Mafia, like, they just fuck up their cars and they're like, right, well, on you go.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit here where they have to make their way into the traffic control centre, I think.
Yes, this is the high-stakes, super technical stakeout where they kill the lights, they go in and they send their undercover pervert to change the reels on a big machine from the 60s Batman TV show that goes... I like the score, but then bleeps and bloops. Anytime they're in a room and they're like, it's not reading as technology, they just go blip, bloop, 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 bloop.
Oh, it's tech. Something very funny, and I know it's like silly to make fun of old technology, but changing the reel on a computer is like, that's beautiful. Just like popping this big reel of tape off and putting a new one in.
That was the only way that we could play on the Commodore 64, and that was a privilege back in those days. So I do remember distinctly playing the Commodore 64 for the first time on tape and being really stuck on Terminator 2 and thinking, if I were to fast fast forward this cassette in my father's hi-fi, perhaps I could...
Oh, you went ahead of the game.
It didn't work.
So I never experienced tape-based computing, and so to me the idea of that you can't have computer stuff on a tape. Like, I get a disc, like I had floppy disk, I get that because there's a disc in it, and I know that discs are computer, but tape isn't computer, mate. That was bullshit. You were just listening to stories, you weren't playing computer
isn't
games.
Computer. You
tape
heard
isn't
it
computer.
Here first.
No, I don't believe it, and I also don't believe in molten metal, but we've been over that before.
We've been over that. It's fine.
It always
we are.
looks like special effects. It's not real. That's my theory. And tape is not computer. So they made their way in. They've replaced the reel. And so that's one of the key tick lists items on the agenda. Done. And we get a little look at the gold coming off the plane. Oh, yeah. It does look tasty, doesn't it, gold?
I'm not sure if that's because I've eaten a lot of McVitie's gold bars in the last few months, but I wrap my chompers around that. It's a soft metal, I've heard.
Well, I was going to say, despite how like heavy and solid it is, it does always feel like you could chew. You get a big bite of gold and kind of chew a bit of gold.
Why do you think all those millionaires in Dubai are putting gold on their fish and chips? It's because it's delicious.
Yeah,
it's clear. It's obvious, and we normies don't get it.
Does it have a taste, gold?
No.
Have you tasted gold?
I have tasted gold.
Well, la-di-da.
We got gold leaf in one of the school labs where I taught, and I ate it.
No taste? Just...
No taste.
Didn't taste of anything.
I didn't even get a golden shite. It was so not worth it. But platinum is delicious. A friend of mine told me he went to Dubai. It is delicious.
I can't tell if you're joking. Can you eat platinum? No, surely not. Could you?
Well, no. Salt Bay, try it, yeah? And if it kicks off, give me the residuals.
Yes. So they're burning all the plans and maps, getting rid of the evidence here. And Benny Hill, at this point, sort of writes himself out of the movie for maybe the entire rest of it. He
fades into obscurity now that he's done his bit, right?
He just gets on a tram, is a pervert, grabs a woman, gets arrested, and he's done his bit, and he's gone.
That's that.
Yeah.
Now,
all right.
This Italian woman speaks at like treble speed.
They speed it up. They speed up the footage. I think that's to try and do the Benny Hill. Is that no one moves quickly.
She walks the normal speed, but she's speaking in this really high-pitched, sped-up voice. And at this point, I was caught between A, being like, that's clearly racist, and B, being like, I'm surprised and impressed at the remarkable restraint at the lack of them lot over there style content that is in this movie, considering it's a British production about going to Italy in the late 60s with Benny Hill.
It could have been a lot worse in terms of dodgy stuff here, but we've got rid of Benny Hill.
Yeah, he's gone. There we go. So I mean, I feel like that was kind of like, you've been bit on the hand in a zombie movie. I'm going to chop off my whole arm. Yeah. A bad thing has happened to prevent much worse things happening.
Yeah, exactly.
The only way to kill Benny Hill is by removing the head or severing the spinal column from the brain.
Yes.
Otherwise, you just keep getting up going that misshapen monster.
Kevin, it's 1969. We're in the swinging 60s. And yet, would you believe it? The firm is a bunch of bloody, and I'm going to say it, millennial snowflakes. They're all like, oh, I feel sick in the back of a car. Oh, I'm going to get a migraine. Oh,
Tommy.
And Charlie's like, no, you are all going into back, and that he's turning Australian. And my Michael Caine word is final. So that is what you will do for me.
I did like their matching jumpsuits, though. Very fetching.
Yeah. Yes.
Very good indeed.
Lovely stuff. And so we're into it now. I feel like we're into the kind of
heist time.
the bit. I feel like the film is very much a film. It's a film of two halves, Kevin.
It is, and
it reminds me of the beautiful game.
The podcasters were kind of like the 12th men on the pitch here, as it were. Although I will say, maybe you should worry about the 11 men who are on the pitch. Yeah.
Well, yeah. We've had the funny, silly, chatty bit, and now we've got the kind of the execution of the plan. We don't need Benny Hill for this. We are over that hill.
Like, I don't want to say it could almost be a different movie, but I was like, when we got to the end of this, Joe was like, "Oh man, this is great!" Like, you know, she just saw this bit basically, and I was like, "Would you want to watch it at Christmas?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, definitely." And I was like, "Yeah, I would probably tactically fall asleep and wake up at this bit, and I feel like I wouldn't miss anything really. Not to say the first part of the movie's bad. No, this is the best. This is the bit that you want.
It's the bit we've been setting up all the pieces, and now we get to watch it all happen. The gold convoy is This feels like, I know we compare things to video games all the time, but this is literally from the 60s, and of course, all of these sorts of games will have taken inspired
all sorts.
But it's so Grand Theft Auto-y to kind of watch the bits and be like, okay, we have to go over this bit now and go to this mission market. But beautiful stuff. The convoy is on the way, and just the old school tech of like, if there's security cameras and CCTV, you just throw a little thing that goes blue, blue, just
that's it, they're fucked.
You just throw that near it and it hates the noise, so the cameras just shut down. They're like, that is annoying, that's going right through me, like,
I will praise your British ingenuity simply once in this episode, and taking over an armored truck with sticks. I am impressed by that.
Yeah.
That is literally the spirit that won you World War I and lost you millions of lives in the process.
This is a really enjoyable bit of the film, but because it's traffic-based, there is so much fucking beeping.
Beep! It's less beep, more beep. That's what we want.
Yeah, that's what we want. But it's a complete honk fest. Like, you can't get away from the fact that it's just Michael Caine's like, my name is beep, beep. It just can't fucking hear anything anyone's saying because it's just beepy.
Did it stress you out?
Well, given my traffic jam situation yesterday, I mean, obviously, typically I'm the one doing the beeping, but when I'm on.
Don't worry, Sam is an automatic beep. When the car feels that he's been wronged, it just fires away.
So they've managed to capture the van, as you said, with sticks. They just
sticks and stones.
Yeah, it's a very
break the Italian spirit, and they have captured it. Prepared the minis for the holdover and the handover of the bullion.
Yes, I mean, we get some great. We got everyone, a big chunk of the lads dressing as footy fans because there's an England game on while we're here, so they can disguise themselves as England fans. And the minis are taking the naughty route through the city. There is an established route on paths and down little alleyways to get away from the traffic, and that's why they're driving minis, because they're little and they can nip in and out of bits.
Let me tell you, car going down the stairs, all is well in your movie if you give me that.
I fucking hate driving. I'm doing a lot more of it these days, but
hate it.
And I'm not normally like, I want to go fast or I want to skid round a corner, but going downstairs in a car, imagine how that feels, you know?
I mean, it is amazing looking, isn't it? I mean, the closest we get to here of something that I've done is when they drive through the rivery bit. I drove through a shallow river once, and that was both terrifying and exhilarating, and it made me feel like a real man. But yeah, I would say you get the same thing from going downstairs in a Mini. Going downstairs in a bike, though, that's scary. That's too scary, you know?
Not doing that. And this is back in the 60s when, like, suspension was not as developed as it is now. So you'd be really feeling those.
Oh, you and I in them minis. Like, I remember I used to drive a Toyota Yaris, and at the end of a month, I'd look up at the roof, and like literally there'd be just my hair matted into it, just because it would intermesh with the roof of the car. You want to talk about the Italian job? Some sort of a heist. The real heist here. They nick a bloody roast chicken clean off the dinner table.
Yeah, I mean that's what you should be stealing. Bunch of delicious roast chickens. That's video gamey though, because fucking like, what's the one where there's just fucking floor chicken? I mean, there's a lot of games where there's that. Streets of Rage, floor chicken. It felt like that. You just pick up a chicken. Oh,
delicious. And I tell you, I don't know why, because I never would have done it, but them driving through the pedestrian zones really fast, having stolen a chicken, everyone going and jumping out of the way, really made me want to go on holiday in Italy again, or at the very least increase my mastery in Sapienza on Hitman.
I mean, Italy looks very nice in this.
This part of the movie is fucking beautiful.
Yes.
So fucking pretty. Love it.
All of this stunt and chase work and the way it's shot and the way it's done, it's all obviously very practical. There are cars doing these stunts.
There's goofy bits and there are impressive bits, but they all come, like, there's no bit that takes you out of it. Like, there's this really fucking amazing skid out where, like, there's like a soapy bit of pavement, and a guy fucking he wipes out, wipe out, and then there's a part where a guy drives through a fucking wall. Yes.
Yeah.
But then there's also a part where one of the cars drives through a gate, and there are so obviously like dummies in there that are rattling around. Nothing took me away from it. It was all just like, and it wasn't like necessarily like adrenaline pumping, high octane. Yeah, it wasn't like that, but it was a good pace of just fun shit happening. Less manic than like the Blues Brothers. It just felt like they were going to plan, and it was nice to see.
It's very satisfying to watch all this, isn't it? It does feel very satisfactory to see all of this happen. It's nice.
Satisfying to see car drive diagonally down the staircase. It's satisfying to watch three minis in quick succession drive up the roof of a slanty stadium. It's all very fun to see.
Going up the curved roof thing. God, that fucking feels nice, watching that feels good. I'm getting that fucking
in the car dealership. Come on.
I'm getting that kind of TikTok dopamine stuff of like, it's just a succession. It's flicking through various satisfying things.
Yeah.
And going, oh, yes, please, I want more. It's very tasty.
Speaking of tasty, some of the food on offer in the traffic jam that the Italians seem to be enjoying. Oh, Marron.
Oh. And we then cut to... I'm not even sure which Italians are meeting. Is this the mafia meeting up? There's a bit where there's just a bunch of Italians going.
It's all like the top Italian brass from the city. The people who control the traffic lights, the people who control City Hall. Right. All those guys, and they're like, "What the fuck is happening here? It's all fouled up."
Fouled up. I mean, that's. Despite them speaking in Italian and using very Italian gestures, you can tell that that is a British translation of what they've said. An absolute foul up. Everything is fouled up.
Slight issue develops here, Sam. The cars jump over a series of roofs. No slow motion, no guitar riff. No, this is not cinema technically.
But the precedent hadn't been set.
No whammy bar. No, nothing. Like, why even? How do you make the jump then?
It's hard to work out how they did it without slow motion or a bit of whammy.
You don't even need to actually be slow motion. You could just go, and I would have been happy with that as well.
So the problem was they had one opportunity to either speed up or slow down the tape, and they used it up on Benny Hill. We can't adjust the speed the other way. We've used that opportunity now. But there's no whammy bar, but the drivers are giving it whammy going over the roofs. They're properly, giving it the whammy.
This is when the correctly identified song Self-Preservation Society came on. I was grabbed by a giant hand out of the clouds and ripped out of my moment enjoying the movie, because all I could hear was at Nationwide, at Permanent TSB, at Admirable, at AXA, insurance game.
It's a good song, and it really suits the vibe of this movie.
Baby.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Self-Preservation Society? No. Big Society. That's what we want.
But it doesn't fit. This is a big society. It doesn't Doesn't work, you know.
This is a bit exciting.
You know what? If David Cameron had come out and he'd have sung that, I'd have respected it. But what's he doing now? Sitting with his trotters up.
Trotters up, can't. Whereas Ed Miliband, he'd been like, this is a self-preservation society with strong controls on immigration. No! He'd have pronounced society wrong and then had to do it again, but everyone would have been like, oh, mate, you had to chat. He would have tried to grab the chicken and dropped it. Take pictures of him like dropping the chicken. I couldn't even do the Italian job.
Was I supposed to blow the bloody doors off? Of course I was. Oh, he's fucked it. So now they've got to get the mini wheels lined up to get the minis onto they've got a bus.
They got a Thunderbird at Sam.
Bus. Oh, amazing. And you know what? I appreciate that they don't just smoothly do it first try.
No,
there's a bit where they're like, I've messed it up a bit. Let me just reverse back out and try. It's like me trying to get into a parking space, you know. It takes
would be
two
hard.
goes.
Yeah, like imagine it's trying to get into a moving parking space. It's really hard.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to do it.
At high speed. I do like as well that simultaneously with them pulling off the heist, it seems now, and they're on the home stretch.
Yeah.
They're back in prison. Bridger gets a great big ovation like he's Paddington after he makes the chef nice.
Yeah. I don't know how they know that it's all gone well. I guess just news has come through on the wireless.
He's got the wireless, hasn't he? You know, the instant technology of the late 60s. So they start driving through the Alps, and boy, I want to know this, Sam. Have you ever driven up a mountain on a bus?
Not on a... no, I don't think I have.
When I was in Japan, we went up Mount Fuji on a tour bus. And I'm not sure what was scarier, doing that or the fucking confidence that your man had. Oh my God almighty. He was absolutely convinced it was all going to plan, like, and he would like literally drive over the edge of the fucking cliff to give himself enough leeway to spin around. So you kept going like oh my God. Yeah. Awful stuff. Awful.
Oh, I don't like it. No, I don't like a blind bend at the best of times, but on a fucking cliff, no, thank you.
Thanks.
But yeah, that misplaced confidence is happening here. Our driver's really going for it. They start dumping the minis just off the cliff, and again, this was before like recycling and that, so you could just leave cars wherever you wanted, and that was fine. But now you're not allowed to do that. But they've dumped the cars out, fine, and it's all gone well. The heist has succeeded until. They've skidded over the edge and they're now teetering, fucking bus full of golden blokes teetering on the edge of a cliff.
Now,
what are they
did
going to do?
You know what was going to happen here with the ending? Because I know you knew that there was a bus.
I knew they were teetering.
In terms of the ending here, do you know? Were you expecting resolution? I guess.
No, I think I knew that was the end. That like they're just teetering and that's it. Yeah, I knew that because it's like coming up on Britain's funniest bits of films. This bit at the very end of
at Churchill will never leave you dangling over a bus on the edge of the Alps like in the final moments of the Italian job. Hang on, lads, I've got a plan. Oh, yes.
So I do like that there is a bit where they're trying to kind of navigate the situation. There's gold on one end, there's blokes in the middle, and they're trying to get the blokes over to the other side. And again, I don't know why I'm comparing this to like TikTok and Instagram ads and stuff, but it's that very satisfying, like only 1 out of 80 people can solve this puzzle of how you can move this stuff around. Feels like a mobile game of how to stop that bus from teetering over, but they never quite solve it. We do spend a lot of time like counterbalancing and just moving quietly.
Yeah. We don't just end, we dwell on it and then we end, which I think like there's a lot of movies and series that end with no resolution that garner a lot of ill will. I don't think I've ever heard anyone say this is anything other than a great ending. Like no one's ever like, fuck's sake, what happened to Charlie? Like what happened to all the lads? What happened to the bullion, you know?
I think it's a great ending. Although the fact that he does the line, hang on a minute, lads, I've got a great idea. And then we get to and it's the exact same like dubbed on a second time. And it's just that it just didn't need the
No,
it didn't need the But I think as an ending, that very much suits the tone of the film. And we don't know what the fate of these lads is, but we know that Charlie's have-a-go hero, and he'll probably sort it out, or maybe he won't. But I like not knowing. It's fun. We'll find out in the Italian Job 2 coming to cinemas. Never.
I would like us to cut back to the prison, and they're like, we're getting updates now live with what's going on. Like, everyone stops cheering. They all go back to their cells, all worried, like anxious, sore tummy from Bridger, like,
That feels like England scoring early in a World Cup semi-final, and then they've been a penalty has been awarded against them, and everyone sort of calms down a bit and starts looking stressed.
And then David Beckham's like, "Hang on, lads, I've got a plan," and he only fucks it.
Oh, Kevin, I had a really good time. That was very, very fun. That's what I was going to say. It's just a fun film.
I don't think I've heard you say a single bad word against it.
No. It's got some like 60s sensibilities that are a bit, but it's nowhere near as bad as it feels like it could.
Yeah, I mean, you go in like, I feel like a rewatch, your guard will probably be down a little bit because you're not, it's not as bad as you worry that it could potentially be. An hour and 40, a breezy fucking watch this as well.
Yeah.
It is very much two halves, very different, but both very enjoyable for different reasons. And Michael Caine is just like, he's so fucking charismatic. Every little bit he does is just, Baron, sanitation.
Baron. It's brought me around on Caine. I wasn't anti-Caine by any means, but it's like, I didn't realise how silly and funny and charming and charismatic he was. I think I had a quite two-dimensional perception of Michael Caine from essentially Batman movies, Muppet Christmas Carol,
Christopher Nolan,
bits and bobs. But
this was a funnier movie than you were expecting it to be.
I didn't realise to what extent this was like literally a comedy. I thought it was an action movie that might have had. I'm not even sure I knew they were like fully silly. I guess I knew that you're only supposed to blow the bloody doors off. I didn't know it was meant to be.
You knew a lot about it, but funny enough, knowing a lot about it didn't really impact the pleasure at all, really.
No. Yeah.
And I will say, the fun heist, baby, that's just something I could watch for days and days. If you're looking for a nice little weekend movie to watch, a little Sunday watch, Logan Lucky that came out recently, that's got good heist energy to it, and I would say that's always it's a good one. That obviously the Ocean's movies, but this is landed very, very well.
Oh, very well. Yes, I'm going to come back to the same word that I've been yapping on for ages, but it's satisfying. It just feels good, It's a hearty Italian meal. Forget Italian Job.
It brings people together. I feel like it's one of those things where, like, I feel like when you watch The Great Escape, there was a degree of, I can see why you liked it so much, Dad.
Yes.
But this is like, shut up, Dad, I like this. This is mine.
Shut up, Dad. I like it. We can't like it together.
Tom,
I like
it. For me.
It's a bit of fun. It's a bit of bloody best of British fun. And to be honest, we've had occasions of watching some absolute dog shit British films on Cinema Swirl recently. Sex Lives of the Potato Men might be the ultimate lads movie, but this is maybe a close second.
Look, Sam, as we've often said, we all piss, fart and shit and shag, and that's why we all love The Italian Job. All that is left now is to ask your star wipe rating. I'm very intrigued. Those of us in the background who silently observe your ratings, perhaps now with bated breath, hopeful, curious to know The Italian Job. What did you think?
You were only supposed to do a star wipe rating. All right. Right. It's strong. It's a strong 4 star wipes.
You heard it here first.
Oh, thanks for listening to another episode of Cinema Swirl. This episode was produced by Kevin, edited by me, Sam, and I also did the music. If you want to support the show, then patreon.com/Cinema Swirl is the way to go. If you want to follow us on the socials, we're at Cinema Swirl on Twitter and facebook.com/Cinema Swirl on Facebook, which is where our votes for episodes take place. If you've got questions, queries, comments, or anything else for the mailbag, then send it on over to cinemaswirl@gmail.com. That's cinemaswirl@gmail.com. Please do keep recommending the show to your friends if you think they'll like it, or even if you don't think they'll like it, just recommend it anyway. Alright, we'll see you next time. Cheers, bye.